morning, everybody. We're here today with Perry, our peregrine falcon ambassador. He's gonna hang out with us. He is gonna have his breakfast after this video, so if he's a little excited, that's why. But come on in and let us know that you're here. We're excited to say hi to you. Good morning, happy Sunday. And as always, there's a donate button on all of our videos. So thank you to everyone who's donating. So say hello, let us know you're here, give us your name, where you're from, and we'll give you a shout out. Good morning and welcome everybody to our morning meeting with ambassadors. So I'll flip the camera around so that you guys can get a good look at Perry. He's very cute and very anxious as to where his breakfast is. So I'll give you guys a better view of him. Hi Perry, good morning. Oh, you're okay. You're okay. Good morning. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Can you step up onto the rock? Hello. So Perry here is our peregrine falcon and ambassador. He came to us from Vermont originally, and he is very, very good. He's a sweet boy. He's about 5 now, but in the wild they might live to be far, far older than that. We've seen them get into their teens in the wild. I know, buddy, I know. He's just really excited about his breakfast right now. Just a second, everybody, hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. I just wanted to get Perry situated. He likes to flap his wings a lot, and that can make for a little bit of difficulty when we're trying to film like this, but he's very, very sweet and excited for his breakfast. That's why he's out here. Good morning, Zoe. Good morning, Uncle David. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Kristen. Good morning, Brittany. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for letting me know that you're here. If you are here, leave a message below where you're from, and I can give you guys a shout out. Good morning. So I'll turn the camera back to Perry because I know that's who you want to see. So sorry about that. Perry is very curious about why we're just sitting here without any food. If you see him keep looking down at his toes, that is what he's doing. He's like, where is the food? Because usually I would have food in my glove right here. But we think that would be a little bit gross to have on video, huh, Perry? Yeah. Good morning from another Perry. Hello. Good morning, Kathy from Nashua. Yeah, so Perry has met Perry. That's so cute. Good morning. Good morning, Ricky from Texas. Good morning from Corinth. Thank you guys so much. Good morning from Ed, Carol, and Irene in Biddeford. Hello, everybody. Perry, what are you doing? Good morning, Beth. Hello. Hi, you're okay. Perry, it's okay. There you go. There you go. Is that comfortable? Nice job. So you can see, oh, I know. Perry, he's so excited this morning. He just wants to fly off and get his breakfast. Thank you so much, Perry. That's so sweet. Thank you for donating. We will certainly, once Perry settles down, get to chat here for a little bit longer. We're going to let him. If you guys can see, he's tilting his head up towards the sky. He's looking for any sort of predators that might be above or anybody flying up high. He's looking around at all the different birds we have living here. We're definitely a little bird baby factory here at the center. We have lots of baby birds inside and lots of wild baby birds nesting, being hatched outside as well, in the beautiful forest that we have around here. So there's lots of bird song for Perry to listen to. These guys are native to Maine, and they are natural predators of lots of different species of birds, mainly seabirds and, you know, something about the size of a pigeon or larger, but they will eat songbirds from time to time. So he's very interested in all of that. That noise going on around us. We have nesting phoebes and cardinals, and we have a nesting group, like a whole flock of white-throated sparrows that are super cute. Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Julia. You can see him getting his wings spread out and ready to jump. So we can always tell by looking at the body language of our birds what they're about to do. And so Perry, before he jumps up and gets all excited, he always puts his wings out like that. He also sometimes does sun himself, so if he does that, but I think, yep, it's okay. So sometimes we'll distract him by wiggling our fingers so he doesn't feel the need to jump up. Good boy. Yeah, he's really looking around for his breakfast. He would normally on a day like today get a quail or half of a quail, and that's just a little farmed bird that humans eat as well, but these guys love. They are big fans of any sort of game bird or small type of fowl like that. So so Perry has a quail waiting for him today, and he is eagerly awaiting that. He'll also get fed mice as well. He would get lots of birds in the wild, but in captivity, mice are a little bit easier for us to come by, so we do give him birds every other day. I know, you just jumped up. You're okay. So he gets mice every other day, and then a bird of some kind every other day. So we try to give him as native a diet as we can while still being sustainable. And the mice are actually all donated to us by a laboratory up in Bar Harbor, Maine, Jackson Labs, and they do genetics research on mice, and then when they are completed their study, they donate them to us, and they're clean and lab fed, and we know that they don't have any parasites or anything like that, so we really appreciate their support, and it definitely is a huge chunk that we are able to save because of them. So Perry appreciates all of his mice. Yum. He loves his food. Peregrines are famous for being very, very intelligent. They're a very smart bird. I know. Where are you going, buddy? They're a very smart bird, and usually if any of you guys have ever gotten into like falconry or anything like that, usually peregrines are kind of at the top of that the hierarchy of birds. So when you first start out doing falconry, you work with, you know, a red-tailed hawk or something a little bit easier going, and then you graduate up to a peregrine because they're just so intelligent. It's kind of like having a lab versus a border collie. They're very, very smart. So Perry definitely has some understanding of the context of where we are and what we're doing, and this is when he would normally get his breakfast, so he is associating all of this stuff like our glove here and where we're sitting with getting food, and he's very curious. They're very, very smart. And they're also very smart because they need to be. They need to be able to hunt, and they will typically be solving very complex problems on their own out in the wild. He's gonna jump again. I know. You're so excited. Good boy. I know. He says, yeah, I know food. So Perry, I don't know if you guys can tell, but Perry has a kind of a little wing issue over here. His wing kind of sticks out a little bit funny, so you can see this wing extending over here. I think he is like basking right now, trying to soak up the sun, but this wing extends pretty normally. He's holding both of them fairly low right now, but this wing he is actually not able to tuck back up close to his body like his other wings. So let's see if I do this. Yeah, he'll tuck up that wing, but he is kind of unable to tuck up his other wing, and that is because he actually flew into a power transformer when he was living in Vermont. He was probably about a year old, and he was brought into a wildlife rehab center with pretty severe burns and muscle and nerve damage. So he is not able to go back out into the wild now because he does have some issues with kind of his brain. I know. You're so excited. He does have some issues with his brain communicating to his muscles and his nerves and things. So, so you can see, I know, this wing over here is just a little bit droopy. He also sometimes will have issues with this eye over here and this foot. They just don't seem to talk to his brain or coordinate as well. So he would not be able to go out into the wild because of those neurological issues, the muscular damage that he has. I know. Are you enjoying the sun? You're such a good boy. So peregrines are actually known to be the fastest animals on the planet. If you've ever heard it's a cheetah, those are the fastest land animals. These guys are the fastest animals overall. They are able to get so fast by actually kind of cheating. They use gravity to their advantage. They can pull, the gravity pulls them down towards the ground in a nosedive when they're hunting, called a stoop, that actually can get up to speeds of over 300 miles per hour. So these guys can dive down towards the ground in that nosedive, and it makes them incredibly fast. And then when they strike a flying bird or animal, it is usually enough force to completely knock them out, and they can just fly off with them. So they actually have a pretty unique and kind of clever hunting strategy. It allows them to take birds that they might not otherwise be able to. So they're very, very good at hunting because of their speed, and their whole bodies are kind of shaped to allow them to be very fast. So you can see he's very pointy in shape. He looks kind of like a little jet, and he just cuts right through the air. Doesn't produce a lot of drag. He is very, very sleek and fast. Yes, his feather pattern is really cute. If you actually look on, don't bite the phone. If you actually look at the feathers on his chest, they do tend to have little heart shapes. Hello. Hi. You're so cute. Says, I'm gonna bite that phone, or those fingers holding that phone. I know. Something that's really cool about falcons as well is because they're flying so fast through the air, they actually would get quite a bit of turbulence and wind rushing up into their sinuses if they didn't have these really unique little adaptations inside of their nostrils. So if you see the little holes on Perry's beak, good morning, I know. Those are his nares. That's what we call the nostrils of birds, and they're not like a smelling device like we typically think of a nose, but they do allow them to breathe, so they do breathe through them. And those little dots that you guys see inside of his nostrils are very, very unique to falcons. They're called baffles, and they actually help to cut up on the wind that rushes up into their sinuses while they're diving so quickly. It keeps their sinuses from blowing out. It keeps all that wind from doing a lot of damage to the structures in their skull and rushing up into their brains. So it's actually a very, very useful little adaptation called a baffle, and our jet engines actually copied this. And if you've ever seen a cone inside of a jet engine, where are you going? I know. Says, give me my food. If you've ever seen a cone inside of a jet engine, that serves the same purpose. It keeps the wind from rushing up into the engine and burning up all the fuel and causing an explosion. So they actually have inspired a lot of human technologies just in this one way, but then also their overall body shape has been mimicked to make things like bomber jets and things like that. So they're very, very fast and very much evolved for speed. They're very cool. You're a good boy. I know, you're so sweet. Peregrines are native to our area. A lot of people will ask me if they are rare or endangered. I know, you're so excited this morning. Yeah. And they are somewhat rare, but they are certainly doing better than they used to be. Peregrines were on the brink of extinction, especially in our area, because of the use of DDT back in the 60s and 70s. And of course, Rachel Carson famously wrote Silent Spring about her experience and about the experience of peregrine falcons and a lot of other birds with pesticides and with DDT. And they have been doing much, much better since we really took major steps towards their conservation. And they are now officially not an endangered species anymore. They were removed from the federal endangered species list in 1999, and they are still considered species of like special concern in some states, but in our area they actually occur quite a bit along the coast. They do really well on the rocky cliffs that we have around here. They actually are known nowadays to occupy large cities. They'll live up on tall buildings, and they'll hunt for a lot of more urban species of birds. So they might go for pigeons or gulls, things like that. So they are doing pretty well, mostly because they've figured out how to live near people. So they've adapted. I know, you're so excited. Why don't we sit like this? because you seem to be pretty excitable and want to be over here today. You're such a good boy. Hi. Thank you guys so much for your comments. Hi, Dan. Hi, Anna. Hello, Jessica. Perry, they are usually found in like a rocky, mountainous sort of areas, or along coastal cliffs. So they are typically found either in a mountain range setting or along cliffs along the coast, but they are fairly widespread, so they do occur on most continents in the world. He's just kind of panting. He's in the sun. He's directly in the sun, so he might be a little hot, and he's also been flapping a lot, getting himself all excited. So they are, you have a bug on your face. Are you gonna get that? No, you're not gonna, you're okay. So they usually will occur any place where there's like a rocky cliff face. That's where they usually nest. And then they also will live in our cities. They kind of can't tell the difference between a mountain or a human man-made mountain like a skyscraper. So they do live like on the Empire State Building. We do have them in Portsmouth actually. They like to live under bridges, things like that. So we actually have a nesting pair that lives on the 95 bridge as you cross over into Portsmouth from Maine. And you can typically see them. They also really like, I know. Are the bugs bothering you, buddy? Yeah. They do like the rocky cliffs out in Rye. They live in Portland. They live in Manchester, Boston. So they're definitely taken to city living. And there's usually plenty of other birds for them to eat in those cities, like pigeons and things. So they do very well. Mary, good morning. Jenny, he is fed dead birds, like frozen and thawed birds, because these guys are all disabled in some way, so they probably wouldn't be able to catch another bird and kill it successfully, and even if they could, it wouldn't be super nice for the other bird. I know. Would probably cause a lot of stress, not something we want to make these guys make their food go through, so all of those animals that they're fed are all frozen and thawed. I know, you're so excitable this morning. You're so cute. Yeah, so there are a lot of cameras, Kayla, for watching peregrine nests. There are a ton of them, because they do a lot of really cute things when they're nesting. Their courtship behaviors are really adorable. They will bow to each other, make lots of noises, and their little babies are called ayahs, and they're also really cute. I know. We're so excited to be out in the sun this morning. So something that you guys can't see is that every time he jumps and flaps his wings and beats his wings, he's actually kind of karate chopping me in the face a little bit. And these sharp, like, pointed wings can sometimes sting a little bit, but they usually don't hurt too bad. He's a very, very sweet boy. We actually have a very good relationship. He is very intelligent, so it did take a while for him to learn to trust us here. He was also in the wild for a long time before he came to us, longer than some of our other ambassadors. You're okay, buddy. He wants his breakfast really bad. So he came to us after he was in the wild for about a year, and a lot of the birds that we have been with us since they were very young and have learned to and grew up around people, but he was in the wild for most of his young life and then came to us. So he is fairly certain of his species. Some of our ambassadors here are a little confused about that. They might think they're kind of a half person, half bird hybrid. But Perry here is pretty sure about his species, and he is just very intelligent and has learned to trust people. So that process of building up trust was really rewarding and great. We got to sit out here and he would eat his breakfast every day, and he would, slowly get calmer and calmer. So that's why he's so excited, is because this is a signal to him that he's about to get his food. Thank you guys so much for your sweet words, Lori. Good morning, Maureen from Georgia. Christine there. Their eyesight is actually really incredible. So they can actually see very, very far distances. If you think of their hunting style of chasing other birds. They are usually hunting from pretty high up on a mountain or cliff and then diving down to get birds below. So they have to be able to see things from very far away. And they've done some really interesting exercises with peregrine falcons where they'll throw a ball and the peregrine is trained to go catch it. It's called a lure. And they, if they see it, they're trained to go fly towards it. I know, we're so excited. And they gradually, you know, get farther and farther away from the bird. And they were able to figure out that they can see up to 2 miles away by doing that. So they have excellent eyesight. And they're actually able to kind of like zoom in on things that are very far away. So if you see him kind of bobbing his head around, he's actually looking at specific things and judging depth and figuring out where they are. So they have incredible eyesight. Very, very good eyesight. Something that all of our raptors are known for is having very good eyesight, and it doesn't always mean that they can see very far distances like Perry can. Sometimes it means they can see at night. Sometimes it means that they can see from very far away or things that are moving very quickly, but he has fantastic eyesight. So he can see things that are up in the sky right now that might look like a little flake of pepper to me, but to him, he can tell it's a bird. It's very cool. Yeah, so you will often see these guys, especially if you're in an area where peregrines might like to live. You might see these guys living near us. They do pretty well. Yeah, Perry. They do pretty well living near people, so they're definitely popular. Are you yawning? Yeah, and Claire, they actually sometimes have to close down the parts of Acadia because of the peregrines that nest there. They are known to dive bomb people if they're nesting and folks come too close to their nests. So very frequently they have to close down the peregrine cliffs trails to accommodate these guys when they're nesting. But it's definitely worth it. They have had many successful nests come out of there. So. Very, very cool. We have so many peregrines that live here. I know. Yeah. There's actually a few pairs that live out on the cliffs near Rye, near the beach, that will, I know, that will go out and fly out to the Isles of Shoals and hunt out at the gull and tern colonies out there. It's really interesting to go out and see all the terns kind of group up and freak out at the peregrine, and he's trying to get some food, and all the terns are being very feisty and trying to get him away. So all of those peregrines that hunt out there on the Isles of Shoals actually live in Rye, which is very cool. He is very quiet, so he does sometimes make noise, specifically when he wants his food, and he's in his enclosure. He'll make some kind of noises. We have had peregrines that are much louder, and in the wild they can be very talkative. We had our peregrine falcon female named Freya, who was very loud and chatty, and typically the females are very loud, but she also was raised by people, so she kind of thought it was appropriate to talk to people. And Perry is fairly certain that he should not be communicating that way with people, and unless he's particularly frustrated about his food situation, he won't usually yell at us, but he doesn't usually talk so much. He's gonna start preening. That's a good boy. Yeah, nice. Good boy. That's called a rouse. It just means he's comfortable and flattening all his feathers down. These are things we like to see when we're holding on to these guys. It just means they're comfortable. Jenny, when people practice falconry, are they using peregrines? Yeah, they might be. So falconry just refers to the use of any sort of raptor in kind of a sporting event or fashion. So what they'll do is they'll get like healthy peregrines from the wild, and then they'll train them to go out and hunt and bring food back, or they'll train them to do different tricks or things like that. So so they usually will start out using something that's kind of easily trainable, like a red-tailed hawk or something, and then they'll graduate. You kind of graduate up to a peregrine. We don't practice any falconry techniques here just because all of our animals are disabled and couldn't really do a lot of the things that you do in falconry, and we obviously don't want to let them out into the wild to hunt and lose them forever, and they all have some sort of a disability that requires that they live with us permanently. But we do have some of the same things attached to them that you might see in falconry. So we do have these jesses on here, these leather straps on his ankles just to keep him secure. And there are, we do have leashes and special gloves sometimes. I mean, we prefer these like very easy to come by, welding gloves. But there are some things that look similar, but for the most part, we don't practice falconry here just because all of our birds are disabled and wouldn't be able to do some of the tricks and things. But we do train them to be able to sit comfortably on the glove, and we do use positive reinforcement techniques to do that. So Mr. Perry Pants here gets lots of treats, and we'll get a big reward after he's done hanging out with us this morning. So he's very, very sweet. Yes, Perry, not like our Merlin, Maeve, who is very loud. All of the female falcons I've ever worked with have been very, very loud and chatty. I think it's just a female falcon thing, and both her and Freya were both raised by people, so they both thought they should talk to us like that a lot. And it's, it's fine when you, what do you see up there, bud? It's fine when you, are experiencing it, once a week close to your ear, but for the first month or so that we were working with Maeve, and getting her trained up, I would sit just like with Perry. Was that a raven talking over there? Yeah? You see him? When we were working with Maeve for the first month or so, we would do the same thing. We would sit out with her, get her to eat on the glove every day, and she would just yell and yell and yell, and I swear I have hearing loss in one of my ears now because of all that yelling. But she is a sweet, sweet girl. Let's see. How much does he weigh? So, I'm resting my arm on the table here. I'm cheating. So, he doesn't actually weigh that much. He only weighs about 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds if he gets heavy, but not much. And our arms certainly do get tired after a time. Mostly it's just the position of holding your arm out that way. It's definitely something I had to get used to when I first started working with these guys, but, it's not usually the weight of the bird. Most of our birds don't weigh very much, between, less than 2 pounds is pretty average. And then we have some that do weigh more than that. And so when we have our turkey vulture Violet, we'll often have something to rest our arms on, or, our great horned owl Galileo or Gaia often will tuck our elbow in and rest it that way. So, we usually aren't holding our arms out with those heavy guys too often, or we'll have something to have them perch on. But it does get a little bit tiring, but you certainly develop some muscle for it. It's just mostly the odd position. Let's see. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad that you like watching these videos. Hello, Zane. Hello. If you guys have any other questions about Perry, please let me know. He's getting really excited about all the ravens that are talking in the woods around us. We do have our raven ambassador, Bertram, who loves to chat as well, but we've seen a few wild ravens since we've been sitting here, and Perry is keeping his eye on them and watching, and as always, he wants his food. It's okay, buddy. I know. You're so excited. Do they require any kind of maintenance on their talons? Yeah, so we certainly do try to keep their perching such that it does help to wear down their talons a bit. But because they're not living in the wild and flying and living on trees or things like that, it can sometimes mean that they don't file down their own nails as much as we would want them to. So we actually do occasionally do something called coping, which is when we take a Dremel or even just a nail clippers on the talons, and we'll just trim down the tips. It's just like trimming the nails on a dog. Of course, it's different because it's a falcon, but that's essentially the same thing that you're doing. We also try to shape them so that they can, you have mayflies all over your face, I'm sorry. And then we will also do that to their beak occasionally as well, if that gets a little bit overgrown. Sometimes when we start feeding them a new diet or give them vitamins or something, their beaks get really, really long. So, so we do file their beaks down with either a sandpaper attachment on a Dremel or just a pair of nail clippers. So it's just called coping. Hello, Ryan from Chicago. Thank you so much, Jenny and Tina, for your kind words. Hi, Michelle. Hello. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow. Please let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll try to answer them in the comments after we wrap up. But we look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow. I'm going to go finally give Perry his breakfast. He's been waiting so well. Yeah. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your weekend.